to Facebook lead conversion with Streettext and the lab code agents. So we have Jessica here, who is one of our top converting clients. She's done 12 transactions. Is it 12 or is it more now, Jessica?
It's 12. I've got another one in escrow. So yeah.
And how long? And that was in 11 months that you did that in?
Yeah. That's been in the last 11 months.
Okay.
So you guys killed it. Thank you.
We just helped you generate some leads. So we want to help people identify, the leads that you're working with. So it's probably smart to kind of go into the actual ad that you're leading with on Facebook. But we got Brian Curtis here and Misty, who also use Streettext, and of course Logan. So introduce your guys self and tell them kind of your experience with Streettext.
Misty?
Yeah, I'll start. So my name is Misty. I'm in Texas. We have been with Streettext about a little over a year now. We have had phenomenal results. I don't know the exact number we've closed, but personally, I was at like 18 a few months ago. So yeah, we're killing it.
Great.
18.
Nice.
Wow. What about you, Brian?
So Brian Curtis, I actually have two teams. I have one in Colorado and one in Arkansas. Our team in Arkansas has been using Streettext since November, I believe. Don't quote me on that. We're having pretty good success. We're getting 1 or 2 closings a month from it, so I'm pretty happy with that. And we're learning and tweaking. I think the biggest thing about Streettext is they're great leads, but there's process that has to do, and it took us a while to get up to speed, and we made some mistakes. And but once we learned a lot of these little tricks that I'm sure we're going to share today, it's really helped our conversion rate, and it's been a great product for us.
Awesome. Logan?
Yeah, my name is Logan Prest. I'm one of the coaches here at Streettext, and essentially with Streettext, the way that we operate is that we help agents generate leads and everything like that, but more importantly, we try to put people together, very similar to what you see on lab code agents, and speak specifically to the kind of leads we're getting, and put the community together and allow you guys to learn from one another. And I think that's the only way that this really works is, advancing as a community. And when somebody discovers something that's that wow factor, whatever it might be, the ability to address that and present that in such a way to other people that, you can then see it through so many different lenses. And if you have a great idea, the only way to make it better is to pass it on to somebody else and allow all these other creative minds get behind it and make improvements, and then your idea gets even better. So, largely that's what we're here to do. And our partnership with Lab Code Agents has been, in my opinion, phenomenal for that very reason. We're just bringing more creative people, more people who truly care about the industry. And again, this is what we as Streettext like to do, is collaborate and bring people together as a collective, and again, all advance together.
Awesome. So for people that have generated Facebook leads and, coming from a background, like what's the difference for you guys, Brian and Misty and Jessica, feel free to chime in here, the difference between running and generating leads through Google or Zillow or Trulia or any of those platforms versus Facebook, Instagram, top of funnel? Like what's the main thing that you would tell people when they're kind of comparing the two?
I'll go. So I would say the main thing that's different between, say, a Zillow lead, Realtor.com, those type of things, is intent. And we also, in how we approach them. So, I make this joke every day, it seems like, but nobody woke up and looked at their significant other and say, honey, I want to buy or sell a house, and logged on to Facebook. That's never happened in the history of the world. That's not what Facebook is about. Those people go to Realtor.com, they go to my website, they go to whatever it is, but they don't go to Facebook. So understanding the intent of that person was looking at pictures about, food or whatever. And this time, God only knows, I don't want to get political, but they're on Facebook looking at other stuff, and they're like, oh, a house. So if we don't approach them from the perspective of where we have to meet people where they're at. So, coming in, calling those people, like I think a lot of people do, when you want to sell your house, they're like, I don't care. And then you're immediately putting up walls. So step one for me is just having assuming that we can get them on the phone, is having a great conversation with, hey, so are you guys just, where are you at? Is something that you're looking to do soon, or are you just kind of getting some information at this point in time? Let it be okay that they're not going to sell right today. That's, to me, the very first step when we're looking at Facebook type leads.
If you're not looking for if you look at it as more of a long-term nurturing a relationship versus just like, I need to sell your house right now. You're getting to know them. You're trying to be authentic. You're putting yourself out there. And that's what I love about Streettext. The other difference is the videos that you can embed, because if you can't get them on the phone, right, you can embed your own videos. You can personalize them. You can say, hey, this is who I am. I'm a real person. I'm not just sending you a generic email. And you can go in anytime and tailor all of that to you and to your personality, which I think is awesome.
One thing for me, I mean, my job is in a sense to be able to help people, you know, obviously see these leads for what they are and help people through. And Misty, I'll throw it to you, because one of the lines that I get to use now that works really well is something I essentially heard from you, and that, you know, a lot of the stumbling blocks people find is one of the sections we allow our leads to fill out is the time. You know, when do you think you're going to be ready to sell? And they can put immediately or just curiously. And for me, I've found a lot of the time, people who put immediately, they're just looking for information immediately. That doesn't mean they're ready to sell immediately. And a lot of those who put just curious, they're just not willing to say, hey, I'm ready to allow you to sell my home. And Misty, I don't want to steal your line here, but one thing that, you know, you had said was something along the lines of essentially acting like a physician and diagnosing. The reason they put their information in isn't necessarily because they want to sell now. They have questions. I don't care what their questions are. In my opinion, if they're real estate related, that's in my wheelhouse. And if I can answer those questions, even if they're ready to sell 12 months from now, what does that mean? That means to me that I have 12 months to build this relationship, develop rapport, get them to sign on the dotted line when the time is right. But also, what else does that mean? It means referrals. If you treat somebody the right way, they're going to refer you. And we get so many agents that come from a straight referral landscape where that's the only kind of deal they're used to. And you know, I hate to call it being spoon-fed, but I mean, if you built up a good referral engine, good on you. I mean, we all need referrals. Don't ever dismiss referrals. Referrals are the lifeblood of this industry. But generating leads, adding to your database, and treating people the right way is the only way for that referral engine to keep running. So I don't know if I kind of stole all your thunder on that one, but if you want to say anything on that, Misty.
It's true. I mean, it's all about the number of conversations that we can have. At the end of the day, what I can measure is how many conversations I actually had, in which case, if I'm going to have conversations, I'd like to have conversations with people that likely, maybe, sort of, someday want to sell or buy a house, in which case that's really what Streettext has provided us, is a way to have conversations. And at the end of the day, just like you said, I don't care if it's not today or even not next year. I have to have conversations, so I'd rather be in my wheelhouse where I can have conversations, build rapport, educate people that want to hear about real estate.
Absolutely.
Well said.
And who would have thought in this time, with everything that's going on too right now, that this is what we would really need, is to be able to put our brand and ourselves in front of people when our offices are closed, you know, and we don't have those people walking in off the street and trying to, you know, and so this is a great opportunity for us to show who we are in front of them. So,
you know, I think it's so helpful for people to see the ad themselves as if they were the homeowner, because we're all talking from the perspective of realtors, and we're like, okay, we're generating leads, we're meeting people, but what about from the homeowner's perspective? What are they seeing when they're scrolling down their news feed? How do they go from seeing an ad, clicking through the ad, and then actually meeting you? Because that's the big connection. Sometimes we're so used to wearing our marketing hats or advertising hats and like lead generating, but the connection would be to step off from, put on the hat of the homeowner or the buyer and think about what they're seeing and engaging them where they're at. And a big part of that is you do not want to let any misexpectation or miscommunication happen in that process where they feel like it's a bait and switch. It's like, oh, I thought this was just fill in the blank. And oftentimes that will happen with Facebook leads if you don't equate your personality from the moment they get in their inbox, because that's huge. Go ahead, Brian.
Well, I was just thinking, you know, and again, remember the ask, and I love what you're saying there. When somebody asks you for information and you start telling them what you can about, you start to try and sell them, I don't want that. I didn't ask you to sell me. I asked you to say, hey, what's my house worth? Or I asked you, is the market hot? I asked you, is this a good time to sell or a bad time to sell? And when you start talking about what a great marketer you are, and I'm like, what? Where do we get that? You know, step number one in any sales is listen to the client. And so I think that you have to know what the client is responding to listen to them. So I love the fact that you're going to go and say, hey, what do my ads look like? Because different ads have different things. Like and I'm not using Streettext, but some ads are, hey, we'll give you a cash offer on your house today. And if you start talking about, you know, something that's not that, then it confuses that person. So you have to talk to whatever your value proposition was, or otherwise you look like a sleazy salesperson. And I love where you're coming from there.
You know, really quickly on that, I think that's one thing that we're really happy with is something that we've done is we have all these templated ads that you can use and build that come with, you know, specific automations about the call to action, but also understanding what that CTA is and then understanding what that next conversation piece needs to be. I think that's huge. And so we have all these different classes and stuff that we do, but again, it's really important to be able to say exactly like you said, if this is what the call to action is, my next email needs to address that. And it can't go from, you know, I'll buy your home in 90 days cash, and then we start talking about other random things. It does need to flow. It needs to be there. But I think the most important thing that we've identified over the years of doing this is personal communication. And again, and forgive me for anybody who's ever heard me say this, because I say this a lot, but you know, the day you get into real estate, what's the first thing that you're taught? Speed to lead, speed to lead, speed to lead, speed to lead, speed to lead. That's what we're told. And it used to be so much more important. And I'm not trying to say it's not important, because trust me, it is. But again, quality of that first message, if it falls flat, if it's lacking personality, if it's not where it needs to be, the likelihood of them opening subsequent messaging, it's next to nothing. So if you have your best email on day 3, day 10, whatever it is, your open rate is going to be so low that it's not effective. That first communication needs to include personality, yourself, be who you are, show people who you are, show them that a real person. Because again, speed to lead, we've all been told that so much. Every realtor here, I can almost guarantee, has automations in place. Whatever you're doing, wherever it is, you've got emails being delivered. Great. Investigate the quality of that content. If you've never heard of somebody and they sent you an email that just says, hey, I've received this, I'm doing this, whatever, does that make you want to deal with that individual? In my opinion, not necessarily, because it's not different. There's nothing differentiating that individual from anybody else out there. Whereas if you send a video that includes yourself, even if you're nervous on the video, it doesn't matter, in my opinion. You show the fact that you're a real person. This isn't a bot. This isn't just an automation, though it is an automation. It's a real person who's working on your request, and that's the person you're going to get to ask your questions to. It's super important to make sure that personality is a very big part of that initial communication.
All right, let's give an example, and I'll use you, Jess, for the example. So here's the seller ad that you have out there, okay? And this is one of many templates that we have, but it's essentially saying, want to know your home's current value and how much equity you've gained. Home values have changed recently with new market sales. Get your new home value, right? So what we got to remember is that you're seeing this from a desktop, but most homeowners are seeing this on their phone. So when they see a ad like this on their phone, it's not showing Jess up there in the top corner. It's showing her like a little tiny picture. They wouldn't probably even equate her at that moment when they click on the ad. Or think anything other than their homes are drawn into wanting to know their market value. So they identify with this ad because it's the area where they live. It's a map. It's nothing other than a map, which is something we use almost every single day. Now, we have variations of this, but the key, when you actually become the lead and you go from click to submission, there's congruency there. It isn't a take all your information at one front at the same time like Facebook lead ads does. And there's a reason we do this. This is a dynamic lead capture. Sometimes you're going to want to ask for all the information up front, and there's a purpose for that. And we actually use Facebook lead ads. We have a lot of different variations of this, but this one is going to tackle it one piece of information at a time, because the first thing they want is their home analyzed. They want to know their own personal market value. So when someone comes in here and they submit their address, that right there, the Analyze My Property, automatically shoots off in your dashboard. And there's phenomenal things you can do with an address only. We'll talk a little bit more about that shortly. But there, you know, between mailers, tax records, you can find these people on Facebook, create a conversation that way as well. But this is where it gets special, because as soon as the email is submitted, and that there has to be a permission given from that homeowner to receive the property valuation by email, that is what activates the autoresponder. That's what activates the email. And that is the special place where if you can create an embedded video in that moment, you can meet face-to-face with that person as if you were at their home. Everything else is kind of icing on the cake, because if they want to tell you about the condition of their property, and as Misty was talking to, you don't put a lot of weight here, because whether they say just curious or immediately has no really true weight until you have a conversation with them. I could be immediately wanting to get a home value, and I could be just curious. I have no idea who you are. I need to sell immediately, but I don't know you. I don't trust you yet. I'm not going to tell you that I'm ready to sell immediately, right? Age, updates, renovations. That's always nice, because this is a conversation starter. If you get that, apologies for someone calling in. Of course, that happens to me. And when you get into here, you click next. This is where the information comes in, and this is also where the brand starts. So when the brand starts, that's you. That's the homeowner. They're finally seeing this is a real person that's going to connect with them. And ultimately, this could trigger the SMS activation. And within 3 minutes, you'll be getting a text from somebody named Julie, your AI, right? Send me my value, boom. That activates Julie. But already 2 steps ago, an auto email was sent out, okay? And the auto email, if you look at the way Jess has created it, she has an auto email that begins a sequence. I'll show you that right here as we get in there. And she's actually formatted it so she has it multiple emails, but this one's the first one, the after submission quick question that's going out. And if you look at it, here's the first thing that people get as soon as the email is inputted. And it's cool, because when you go into the inbox for the first time, hey, Jess, you're wearing the same glasses. I love it. There's personality, right? You haven't even opened this up yet, and it's coming to life. That's the gift component of BombBomb and what that allows you to do. But there's this art of formatting something like this, because you have a little text context in the top. You've kind of created your own script there. It's not just a cookie cutter one. And then you actually ask questions below the video, which I really like. So walk us through this one, and I'll play it shortly here, but how has this one worked for you, Jess?
It's working really well. Actually, I was just thinking today I was going to change it up a little bit to kind of, market more towards kind of what's going on today in the world, and kind of lead a little bit more with heart. And not that, because I always do, but I just wanted to kind of change them up a little bit. So anyways, I get a lot of traction. I send my emails, I don't know about anybody else in doing Streettext, I do mine directly through BombBomb. And so when I go back and I do the home valuation, I can now track who's opened it and who's watched the video as well, which is great. So I've been able to track all that, see who's on it, and then reach back out to them, because then once I know they've opened it and watched the video, I have so much more, my comfort level jumps up, and I'm like, hey, so now I know you've watched it, now I know you've seen it, now let's really connect and let's really chat, because obviously now I know that you're really, really interested in what's going on with the market in your home. So it's the 2 tools together, along with, some other ones that I've implemented with Streettext. And that's the beauty of Streettext, is that you can utilize all these different tools with it to make it and grow it and make it so much better. So it's really worked well for me. Misty, are you using BombBomb as well?
We do use BombBomb. I don't think I'm using it in the way you do. So how do you, when you send out their home evaluation, are you like videoing it, or are you just attaching it to your BombBomb? Like, what are you?
So I do, when I go into BombBomb, yeah, I have a script that I copy and I paste into the actual body of the BombBomb video that is their home valuation. And then I send the video with it, kind of talking about what's going on in that market that week, of course, because it's always changing. And then also anything new that's happening in the area or with their house or their next door neighbor. Maybe their next door neighbor just listed their house that I know about. And I can add that in there and really personalize it too.
I like
You know,
that.
and you can consider using BombBomb again a step further to do what we're calling virtual CMAs, right? The ability to essentially get your screen prepared. So you have all of the tabs ready to go for your presentation. Go to the BombBomb Chrome extension or whatever it is, the screen recorder, record your screen, and basically just present it in such a way that you start, in my opinion, you start on MLS on the leads contact card. And they probably bought that home, let's say 5-7 years ago, whatever it is. And I like to start by clicking through a few of their images to basically let them know this is our starting ground. This is the information that myself, that Zillow, that Realtor, that all these online valuation sites, they're going to be, you know, using some of the information in here. And as you can see, it's out of date. It's not quite where we'd like to see it. Now, here's another home just like yours, MLS again, and go to a comp, one that's recently sold. It's very similar to yours in this respect, in this respect, in this respect. And it sold for this price. That doesn't necessarily mean that's where your home would be. So let's look at another home. Here's another home that's recently listed, very similar to yours, like this way, this way, this way, but still without seeing your home, it's very hard for me to give you my professional opinion. So let's start with, and we always like this, the internet's best guess, right? Go to realtor.com or realtor.ca here in Canada. You have their address already pulled up and you just quickly talk about the guesstimate there, and then you go to the Zestimate on Zillow, and those two values very rarely will line up. And that just offers more credibility to the service that we as realtors are providing to these people, right? You can then say, you know, if you're wanting a quick and dirty online CMA, essentially here it is. Here's a general idea what the internet thinks of your home. However, as we all know, what differs me from these sites is that I'm willing to come to your home for free, have a look around and give you my professional opinion. So if you want a generalized value, okay, great. This video has already shown you right around where that's going to be. But if you want an actual number, let's schedule a time to chat. If you don't want me in your home, given what's happening around us right now, not a problem. I have virtual tool or whatever, right? But just again, the ability to, if you slough somebody off and write them a letter that says, I can't get you a valuation, you know, if you word it the right way, it can work. But again, it's kind of moving people further away. Whereas if you provide a video clip of this, even though it takes you less time, it's so much more impactful. There's so much more value because, again, a real person has taken the time out of their day to provide information for free with the offer of taking even more time out of their day for free, right? So I think that there's a better way of addressing and providing value using something like that.
There's so many ways to go about this, right, Jessica? I think the key is recognizing what's happening in the background, because it all begins with understanding that they're getting this auto email. And then from there, you obviously want to track to see if it was delivered. And from there, you also want to track to see if that video was played, right? Because it's one thing to track and open. It's another thing to track to make sure that they received and got to meet you. And then it's another thing to acknowledge that also, if you get a full submission with the phone number, they're also getting an automatic text from you. Right? And in this case, the text is coming from your assistant named Julie. And so then you got to figure out, well, am I going to use Julie? Am I going to try to shift this into myself and so forth? So I always like to start there, knowing at the very minimum, this lead is going to get something like this. So let's talk about this video really quickly. And then you kind of can talk about, you know, how you use the autoresponder, and then where you go into the personal follow-up, how you use the AI, because there's so many scenarios to go and so many ways to communicate. Some people take it to Facebook and try to create a conversation there. Some people will integrate with something like HomeBot, right, and go in that direction. So there's so many cool ways. It just depends on, I think everybody needs to reconsider to work smarter, not harder. And so how do we work smarter? So we're not giving all away our time and our you know, CMA after CMA after CMA, because you get really tedious and frustrating. So here's what Jess has in her first video.
Hi, Jessica McIntyre here with Berkshire Hathaway. And I just wanted to, first of all, take a quick moment and thank you so much for taking the time to fill out the home valuation via Facebook. I am going to go ahead and do a CMA based on the internet's findings that I can find online. Again, that is a 30,000 foot view, right? Because I haven't had a chance to go into your house. So I will give you quite a bit of a range. There are some questions that I listed down below. So go ahead and fill that out for me. That'll give me even more information that I can go ahead and provide you some more accurate numbers. Those accurate numbers are really important, especially if you're looking to sell or refi in the future. So again, if you have any other questions for me, please feel free to reach out to me. Otherwise, I'm on it and I'll get that CMA to you as soon as possible. Thanks and have a great day.
Okay, so walk us through that. Like, Jess, do you then go and see if they've responded to that? Do you have a process that you're going to use to actually personally follow up? How are you kind of going from that type of lead submission to going after and having the conversation with that person?
So as soon as they get that, right, I go in and I actually provide that. I go into BombBomb and I provide them the actual CMA with another video. So that gets sent out to them, because that's just the first video, which is I'm on it, basically letting them know, introducing myself. And the second one is that I send them is their actual CMA. I do HomeBot. I love HomeBot. I integrate with them. I think it's a great tool. It keeps me top of mind with my clients. I have a lender that I partnered with who's awesome. So that's been a really good combination. It's like the HomeBot, the BombBomb, the Streettext. It all works really well together. So I go from that. And then the next video they get is from me is another 3 days later is another video saying, I really hope that you found, you know, your home valuation useful or informative. And then if you have any questions about it, please let me know. Again, we want to make sure that these numbers are right, because you have to sell your home twice, not only to the buyers, but to the appraisers. And so these numbers or accurate information is really important. So, you know, you just keep following up with that video and putting that yourself at top of mind for them.
So for everybody here, what you're saying, Jessica, is that you have the auto email with you, and then you have the personal video, which you're using a combination of HomeBot and, you know, screen recording, I'm guessing.
Correct. I love the screen recording feature. It's really great. Logan, I am going to totally steal yours though and go down the line and start at their house and then keep trickling down. I think that's a great one. And that's what, again, Streettext is all about too, right? Is all of us getting together and masterminding and taking little tips and tricks from each other. So thank you for that one. But yeah, I do the screen recording with HomeBot and it works really well. And then I get the emails not only from Streettext every week saying, hey, this is what your ad is looking like. This is who's viewing it. But I get one from HomeBot that says, look at the activity of all these people that are, you know, that they're clicking on, they're reading, they're reaching out. They would like another CMA. They would like, you know, any kind of update. So all the tools are there. Use them with heart, and it's really great.
Another auto email coming out day 3, right?
I do.
So there's so much of that I think is happening in the first 72 hours. That's such high value and high personal touch. And then you also have the AI component working for you, the text messaging of full phone, right?
Right.
So how do you activate? So are you someone who likes to pick up the phone as soon as the lead comes with the phone number? I'm sure
if there's a
Brian,
phone number, yes, 100%. I pick up the phone and I call them, you know, and then if I don't get them, that's okay. Because then I can, once I get they send them out the CMA, then I can call them again and just say, hey, I'm just following up with you on that CMA. Did you have any questions about it? Let's get together and chat, you know, and really introduce myself in that point.
Awesome. Misti, Brian, do you have anything you'd like to add to that? Like in terms of what you guys do uniquely?
Yeah. I'm happy to do that. So we have a 86-day follow-up. I don't know what, we didn't pick 86. It just kind of how it worked out. But, you know, we have an initial HomeBot, initial email that goes out. Now, let me just say this. I'm going to piggyback on what Jess says. Anytime somebody's got a phone number, I'm calling that person. That to me is 100%. And I don't know if you're doing this or not, Jess, but if I don't get them on the phone, I also send them a video text. So to me, video text is kind of the next level that people if you're an agent who's willing to do video text, you can take your business and shoot it like this, because most agents, they just refuse. They don't think they look good. They don't think they sound good. My favorite thing to tell an agent is that's how you look and how you sound. So get over it. I mean, it's who you are. I mean, I know we all want to look better and sound better, but we don't. So deal with it. This is what's going to happen when you meet people in person anyway. So that doesn't always work, but it kind of an interesting mindset, the shift. So we're going to call them, we're going to video text them, you know, and the reality is we're probably getting what, 30 to 40% that have numbers, and then 60 to 70% that don't. I think that's pretty typical, and that's pretty typical of internet lead generation. That's no negative thing about Streettext. They do just as well as getting phone numbers as anybody else. But here's the other thing, and I'm not sure if everybody's doing this, but we immediately use 3 or 4 different sources to try and find their phone number. You've got their name, you've got their address. There's a lot of good software out there that can get you another 10 to 15% of those people who didn't put their phone number in, they can put it in there. So we have that. We use BombBomb and HomeBot. Like, one of the videos that we send out is actually an explanation of your HomeBot report. Now, it's not your actual HomeBot report because you can't automate that because it'll take too long for every time, but we give an actual copy of a HomeBot report. What source is Brian using? I'm not telling. I'm just kidding. I'll tell you in a second. So absolutely, we use Forewarn, we use Spokio, we use Cole Realty. Those are the 3 sources that we use. So we get that information, but we're going to send them a video that shows them what their HomeBot report is, because HomeBot is really cool. I mean, I know this isn't a HomeBot thing, but there's a lot of good information in there. It tells you can how if you want to Airbnb, it tells you equity, it gives you refi options. And the reason I think it's so good is, I'm sure Jess and Misty do this, it gives us something to talk about. You know, we can call the people and we're not interested in selling our house right now. It becomes a short conversation. I completely understand you're not interested in selling your house right now, Jess, but one of the things I'd like to do is just spend a couple minutes explaining this thing that I sent you. It's really cool. All of our clients love it. So, you know, it shows you these different options. All of a sudden, you're engaging with people that you may not have. We also send out a handwritten note to every one of these, by the way. So that goes out on day 3 with our thing. So if we don't contact you within 3 days, you're getting a handwritten note that goes out to us. And you had said something about this. What do you do with address only? We're going to address those. Here's an interesting idea. Maybe not today, but maybe a month from now. Why wouldn't you go door knock that door? And, you know, there's absolutely no reason. Good friend of mine, I'm going to steal this from him, bought pizza boxes. You can drop pizza boxes off at people's houses, empty pizza boxes, and then with a note in there, it says, give me a call if you want to know the value of your house and I'll deliver a free pizza. So silly things like that really take stuff to the next level. People love it. They're like, I don't want to sell my house, but bring me a pizza. Okay, now I've got a conversation with somebody. So I guarantee you may not sell that person's house, but they're going to tell their neighbors, hey, this crazy realtor came to my house and brought me a pizza. You know, you have to be different. I believe in 2020, the agent who's just calling, doing the same boring thing can be successful, but why not have some fun doing this? My God, the real estate can be a grind. Have some fun. So that was an awful lot of information in a short period of time. So that's where I'm at.
Awesome. That was awesome. Thanks, Brian.
Who wants to see an example of a HomeBot and BombBomb integration report?
Do it. They're great.
Oh, and Jess, if you have one, I'd be more than willing to share it. But we had a mastermind yesterday with a gentleman, Stephen Dreyer, who sent a report to this person. We felt like this was the coolest thing ever. So I just want to show you an example, because it's assuming in this case, the HomeBot report would be really great if they got the auto email with meeting you for the first time, and then you were kind of addressing the HomeBot auto email. Hey, you're going to get a HomeBot report. Here's what you're going to be looking for. And so here's an example that I have to share with you guys of what you can do with BombBomb and HomeBot together. And here it is, Stephen Dreyer.
Hey, Robert, it's Stephen.
Hold on, I'm gonna turn this way up. It is a little low on volume, so let's see what we can get to get him higher. I might have to, everybody turn on their volume as high as I can to listen to this one, but you'll see the value.
Just wanted to pop in quick here to show you a little bit around your new HomeBot profile. So in general, HomeBot is a program that we actually just partnered with, and they give you some really, really awesome facts about your home. And we're just scrolling down here. It'll show you kind of how much you pay towards principal and how much towards interest. A little bit of a hard one to look at sometimes. And it tries to grab the most accurate information. So after each little section here, it'll ask you to verify if it looks correct. And if it does, you can go ahead and say, yep, that looks right. Or you could change the numbers to tune it in to whatever you know to be the correct numbers. And starting up at the top here, this is your home's value. So if you had, let's say, just redid a kitchen or a bathroom, a bedroom, anything like that, and you wanted to have me incorporate that into this value, because this is basically just going off other homes that are comparable in size-wise to yours, but we haven't really adjusted for the finishes just yet. So if we go ahead and click Tune Value, you're going to be able to slide this little slider to the left or to the right. So maybe if it's a little bit more outdated, to the left, and if you just updated your whole kitchen and the whole house or something like that, then obviously you would pull it a little bit to the right. But for right now, I want you to do that and go in there. So I'm just going to leave it. But let's say that you wanted to go ahead and let's click Continue here. It'll ask you to kind of scroll through and just confirm all the facts about your house. So all of our data we're actually pulling from local online databases through the towns. So it should be correct, but sometimes it's just not. So scrolling over to this side, this is all your current mortgages. So you'll be able to see all of the current mortgages that you have on the house. You could add another one that maybe we didn't pick up on. And then also scrolling down all the way to the bottom here, it will also give you some cool tips. Let's say if you just pay $100 more each month, you could save $13,000, and you could pay your mortgage off 3 years earlier. Already paid extra, so then you can calculate that in. Also gives you some cool scenarios about different things like investments that you can roll the money that you make on the sale of this house. It'll give you some scenarios on what you can put that money into. So let's say buying your dream home, $1.1 million. We'll give you kind of a little scenario on that. Buying an investment property, just sell and pocket the cash, or rent your home and buy another. So we'll give you all the options. Scrolling down, so let's say you have, you do have $260,000 worth of equity. This will actually give you some tips on what you could do just kind of outside of the real estate field. So you'll see here, splurge on a new vacation, create an emergency fund, explore new investments. And on any part of this, there's always going to be this little box right here that you could always just click, and then you'll automatically, the question will get sent right to me. You can actually scroll in here and type me in a custom message just by clicking in the little box, and I'll be able to receive that, and then I can give you a call. Also, a little quick scenario. So this is a Airbnb calculator. So I'm not sure if you're familiar with Airbnb, but it's an online platform which allows you to rent out your house night by night. It's kind of like a hotel, except anyone can really come into your house and stay there for the night. So this will kind of give you a little bit of a scenario on what you would potentially make if you did that. And then scrolling down, there's just my information. You could visit me on my website. You could also follow me on Facebook at any time. It's just type it in. It's Steven Sells CT. So that pretty much wraps it up here, Robert. If you have any questions, feel free, give me a call. My best number is 203-704-7710. And hopefully I'll talk to you soon. All right.
That's pretty impressive.
Real quick on that, Markus. Obviously this seems all of a sudden more like an ad for HomeBot. And I just want everybody to understand this is a large portion of what Streettext has to offer, in that all we do is try to figure out ways of making your lives easier. One way, of course, we do that is that agents bring these ideas that we've never even heard of. But since all we do is speak to realtors essentially one-on-one in large group settings every single day, we have the ability to take one of these high-level ideas, break it down in such a way that makes more sense. Again, like the virtual CMA. How easy is that? We started playing around with BombBomb. We were identified, BombBomb was brought to our attention, 3 years ago now, something like that, maybe a bit longer. And we started playing with the tool, figure out what else can we do with this? And we provide that information to one agent who says, oh, that's kind of cool. Have you thought about doing this and this and this? We bring that to one of our mastermind sessions, and we have 50 to 100 agents all get the idea and start playing with it themselves. They come next week with a slightly, increased performance, if whatever you want to call it. And just, again, things we're always looking for other tools that are even outside of our own spectrum, because that's what works. That's what helps. It's no one tool can lift all the weight, right? We all need to have systems. We have to have different things in place. Door knocking has been something that's worked for me in my career forever. Given what's happening right now, door knocking is not okay. You're not going to get the kind of reaction. So you need something to supplement that. Same thing. I'm always told, I'll speak to an individual who says, it doesn't matter what's happening around us. I hate door knocking. I'm not going to do it. My job isn't then to say, you have to go door knocking, otherwise this isn't going to work. No, we'll figure out if you're not going to do this activity, what can I suggest to you that's going to help supplement that? If you're not door knocking, okay, you've got to have some pretty darn good mailers, right? You got to have something, because if you're getting an address only, you have to have a way to initiate a conversation to get them within your sphere so that you can drip on them. Right?
Hey, Logan, I'd like to talk about address only for a second too, because let's look at some mentality. Why do people become address onlys? And this is what we found, and this is a crazy thing. I've been doing address only different things for probably 5 years, even before Streettext. But here's what's interesting about address only. The most of those people stop giving you their information because they're afraid you're going to sell them something. The address onlys are honestly more likely to move quickly than the people who fill out the entire form. That is the part that blew my mind when we figured that out. Is you only give me your address, that means I need to go see you. You are really excited. You're afraid I'm going to sell you something. It's kind of like me. I tell this story all the time too. I walk into Macy's for one purpose, to buy a pair of pants. Guy walks up to me. He says, "Can I help you?" I said, "Absolutely not." I'm there to buy a pair of pants, but I don't want to get sold anything. So remember the mentality behind that. The more likely someone is to make a purchase or to make a decision, the less likely they are to want to talk to you on the front end. So it's just kind of an interesting, weird psychology that someone else, I'd love to say I created that, but someone else explained it to me. It's a great piece of information.
100%. And you can retarget those address onlys too with the pixels. You can find those guys on Facebook with the advanced search of Facebook, send them a friend request, drop them into a list as follow up with a Facebook message, and create a conversation that way. And then your automations can reflect that as well. No, you don't have to spend 4 minutes like Steven did on a personalized HomeBot report either. For some of you guys, maybe part of what you do is an automated sequence that shows them what to look at that HomeBot report. So it's less about one-on-one. Steve, really loves the one-on-one because he wants to give everyone a unique experience. And some people can. If you're in a team environment, you can't, obviously, at all times. So you're just creating ways to work smarter, not harder, and then kind of thinking about how to get them to start dialoguing with you, given the value that they're requesting.
Yeah,
I'd love to hear if anybody else is sending out other emails. So we do the HomeBot email explains it just like that. We do 4 or 5 others. I'd love to know if there's other bomb emails that people are sending out on drips, because I think that that's pretty effective at times too.
I do. So here is Jessica's day 3 email that kind of goes. So you can imagine they got the first one. Let's say Jess does the HomeBot report, and now they get this day 3 email, which I think will flow so perfectly, which is home valuation information. It's basically saying, "Hey, Jennifer and Kevin, I hope you received my home valuation and liked what you saw. If you have any questions or there's anything else I need to know about your house to be able to provide you the more accurate estimate, don't hesitate to contact me." And then here's her video.
Hi, Jessica McIntyre here with Berkshire Hathaway Home Services, and I just wanted to quickly follow up and just see if you had any questions about the home valuation that I was able to send out to you regarding those numbers. Remember, this is because I haven't been in your home, so there is quite a wide range that I have listed below. But if you'd like some more accurate numbers, which is really important moving forward if you're thinking about selling your home or refinancing in the future, is to really get those accurate numbers. Of course, that 30,000-foot view, such as Zillow, HomeBot, all those other ones, Redfin, they haven't had a chance to go inside your house, so they don't see the updates. They don't know if you have any outbuildings, how many acreages you have, and so forth. So again, those all add value to your home. So if you have any questions about any of this, please feel free to reach out to me. Otherwise, I look forward to meeting you soon. Thank you.
So cool. So Jess, that's basically the model that has allowed you to do 12 transactions at $9 a day in 11 months.
Yes. And I wanted to just really quickly piggyback right on what Logan said about all the different programs that Streettext has. And that is, you have to have, in order to build a house, you have to have a strong foundation. And I feel like Streettext is that first layer. It is that foundation. And then we can add all the other tools onto it to make it better. Right? But without that, then we wouldn't have the leads to get to HomeBot or to add them into HomeBot or to make a bomb video for. So basically Streettext is the foundation for me. So as far as that video goes, yes, that is how, I mean, it's getting in front of them. It's introducing yourself again and reintroducing yourself. I love adding the video to each one of those layers. And it just works for me. And I did put outbuildings, so it sounds kind of hokey, but here I live where it's kind of rural, and outbuildings and acreages is really important to us. So sorry if it sounded a little hokey.
Understanding your market. That's the key, is that if you just follow somebody else's script and don't put your own mentality, your own personality, your own market knowledge into that video, it does sound impersonal. You know, where I live, outbuildings, that's certainly not, we're not quite, we don't refer to our, structures as outbuildings necessarily, because that's not really what we have, but they exist. And if you're in an area where people refer to, the barn as an outbuilding, whatever it might be, use that verbiage that people understand you're speaking to them, because they also use similar verbiage. We're part of a community, and communities have a lot of similarities to other communities fair, but we also have things that make, my community has very specific things that make us unique. And knowing that shows my market knowledge. So using verbiage that's more appropriate to your own area, that's incredibly important. I think that's the right way to go.
There's no one way to do it. There's no one way. I mean, that's the beauty behind this. Like, I'll show you an example real quickly where it goes straight for the Facebook friend request connection. And it works so well if you kind of use Facebook as a CRM. If you're looking, I mean, again, it's the way you communicate that is effective. So for example, Marley, in this case that I like to share with people, she instead in that first autoresponder is saying, hey, Steve, just want to let you know I received your Facebook request for the property valuation of 133 Glenridge. I have a few quick questions before I send it your way. Have you done any updates or renovations? What would you consider the best feature of home? Here's my Facebook profile. Now this makes sense when you watch this, like what she's saying in that first video. And we really love this. We've used this so many times.
Hi, I'm Marley with Elevate Real Estate. I got your request for the home price valuation and I am on it. Oh, by the way, I left a link to my Facebook profile page below. I'll just be sending you a really quick friend request. Want to make sure you get a chance to meet me. I'll talk soon. Bye.
So the unique opportunity about what she's doing there is she's creating an expectation around the connection happen on Facebook. Because we always forget that everybody is scrolling down their own private newsfeed when they see that ad, and you're paying Facebook for that ad. It's your business page. But coming full circle, they're meeting you. So where else do you want to connect? They're spending an hour or two every single day scrolling down their feed. That's your greatest place of influence. That's where you end up going to be friends anyways with most of your clients. So you're almost taking the step of faith to send them a friend request, drop them into a list, because Facebook allows you to organize those by list. Even if they don't accept that friend request, they will forever stay in that list. But most importantly, you're creating a connection. You're seeing if you have mutual friends, similar likes and interests, and then you're following up with a Facebook message. Because if that message gets opened and the friend request gets accepted, now you can use Facebook as a CRM. You got Facebook Messenger to see the conversation, the last piece of communication you had. Everything now streams into one place. And you can do video there, you can do voicemail there, you can send PDFs there, you can send the HomeBot link there. So it's just a powerful combination when you put all these pieces together and create a process that is all about personal connection.
And for me, I like to address the fact that you have to understand your own strength. You know, again, for what we hear from most people is you get a phone number, unless you're very weak on the phone, which you shouldn't be if you're in real estate, call them. Pick up the phone, call them. You have the ability to text them. If you have good bomb videos, if you have a good drip sequence, email is going to be incredibly effective as well. So those are easy. But how do we take somebody, let's say from an address only, and start emailing them, start texting them, start calling them? All we have is their address. And like Markus is saying, there's ways of, you know, obviously researching name on title, find them on Facebook, use Spokio, use Forewarn, use these products that we have at our disposal to fill in the blanks. Now, if you're not door knocking, if you're not doing any of those other things, how are you going to get more information from them? In my opinion, again, it comes down to an effective mailer campaign. And consider again what your strength is. What do you have to offer these individuals that is valuable enough for them to trade their contact information? Right? So there's 3 things that I like to use. So first, consider something as easy as your market update flyer. Most of you probably have something that goes out to your existing drips on a monthly basis that just identifies what's happening in the market. These are people already in your database. So in a sense, offer it to an address only. Print off something that's over the top. If you have a good market update already, put it off in color, in thick paper, in a really tangible, really nice mailer. It's going to be a bit expensive, but you only ever send it one time. And in that, you essentially say, I'd love to continue sending you this information. However, in trying to keep our community green, I don't send mailers on an ongoing basis. So if you'd like to continue receiving this information, please text me your email address. I'll add you to this list. You'll get this same information on a monthly basis, but through email. I hope you understand, yada, yada, yada. Right? We're keeping our community green. That's the initiative. That's what we're trying to do. So I think that if as long as you've wowed them with that market update, you have, market stats, you have community events, you have a little bit about you, but this isn't really about us. This is about them and our community, right? If you keep it that focus, I feel that works. Another thing, you have HomeBot, right? This is an opportunity to explain somebody in a mailer how valuable the information they're going to get is. Quickly describe your favorite features of HomeBot. You're not only going to get an instant valuation, you'll get a monthly ongoing valuation. You'll be able to fine tune it. You'll be able to do all these cool things. Quickly describe HomeBot in a mailer and say, again, in order for me to sign you up and subscribe you to this free service, I need your email address. If you could text it to me at the number below, yada, yada, yada. And then for people who want to do this, and Leon, I see you on here, so you'll love this, but free 99, right? Who likes free stuff that works, right? So consider the one thing that you all as real estate agents have access to, which is the MLS. If I have a potential buyer who's looking for a particular neighborhood and a particular price point, how long does it take me to set them up on a notification list? Pretty easy. It takes me 3 minutes and cost me $0 on, obviously I'm paying to be part of MLS, but you get the idea. Now consider the fact that whenever a home lists in a particular market, in a particular neighborhood, that listing price will affect homes around it. If it's a one-off, maybe less, but if there's 3 or 4 homes that all list at a similar value that's maybe slightly lower than what I think my home's currently worth, my home's no longer worth what I think it is. It is coming down based on homes very much like mine hitting the market in my neighborhood. So you can say to them something like, exactly that. One way that we know values in an area are affected is when other similar properties hit the market. If you'd like to be notified of a home just like yours in your neighborhood as soon as it hits the market at what price, very easy for me to set you up on an instant notification list. Again, text me your email address. I'll build you this list and you'll be the first person to know when homes like yours hit the market in your neighborhood, right? There's so many strategies that are quite easy to be able to take these people who are interested. They just didn't want you blowing up their phone, at 7:30 when they're sitting down for dinner. They don't want to go to their email and have it flooded with marketing, right? So take these people, they have questions, and figure out a way to answer them.
I'm stealing your going green.
And please,
It's awesome.
everything.
That's a great way to put it. I think it's awesome. I'm only going to send you this once. We're trying to keep it green. I think you did great with that.
Well, and again, look at, and you've been part of Streettext for a while. We had the Zulia idea. What was that, like 2 or 3 years ago? I just had this random idea. This is going to work. The internet's best guess. And it kind of worked, right? But then we had, I can't remember who it was. We had one of our agents took that general idea, this script, which I just kind of wrote up and came up with a bunch of years ago. We had one of our agents say, you know what, I like the idea, but it's not professional. It's not in a professional package, which wasn't its intent. I'm just coming up with verbiage. And he put it together in a perfect mailer that includes the individual's home address and information about himself, and it looks professional. That's what it's, so a lot of these ideas we just randomly come up with. It's up to you guys to really take the idea and make something of it, right? But that's a lot of the power. Again, is we're very, very community driven here. And it's very important that we all collaborate.
In your first trial, Jess, you got 5 listing appointments in 1 week. I think you used this script at the time. So you basically said, hey, Markus, you submitted your information regarding Facebook, on Facebook regarding your property, yeah, blah, 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 blah. I did the research on the homes that recently sold in your neighborhood. And without looking at your home, I'm able to provide you with the internet's best guess, which is anywhere from 265 to 303, right? You keep it wide open. You had a video in there, and then, but I know I can do better than this. So if you'd like a figure you can count on that is custom to your home, it only takes 15-minute walkthrough of your home to see the current condition. I promise no long PowerPoint presentations. Let me know if Wednesday at 6 or Thursday at 9 a.m. works for you.
A year later, I'm still using the same script. And it's awesome. I do the same thing. I take that script and I copy and I paste it into BombBomb, and then with my BombBomb video, and then that's how I can track what they're opening and if they're viewing my videos and stuff. And that's exactly the script. I love it. It works. And you know, sometimes I like to tweak some things, but for this one, it just seems to really work. So thanks, Marley.
And the holy grail of an email is an open, a play, and a click, right? Open, obviously, you have to see the message. Play, you're getting the video play, they get to meet you. Click, especially nowadays, that click can go into something like Calendly and set up a virtual Zoom meeting. So that would be in itself like the best opportunity you can create in that scenario. And then you wake up tomorrow and you have a booking, right? And you're like, yeah, we can do Zoom because everything is moving virtually right now. So sometimes you're meeting them in their comfort zone. And then if that conversation goes well, obviously you come into the home from there.
Absolutely.
I think that's a lot of good conversation around conversion today. What do you think? What do you guys think? Did we miss anything?
Well, that was really good. I took a lot of notes. I love the collaboration. Seriously, it's like I learned a lot of stuff I'm going to go and implement. It was good stuff.
Me too.
Yeah, great. I love what you're doing, Jess. Logan, great stuff today. And you know, here's the beauty of one of the things I love about Streettext is we have these webinars. It's a great group. Everyone's sharing, and so you know, if for no other reason, just to get everyone sharing, it's worth to have the product. And you know, we didn't even go into how to run it or what the thing is. This is just conversion. So imagine the 20 other subjects that are getting covered in the mastermind. It's a great product, and you know, I promote it to everybody I talk to. It's a great product.
Thanks, guys. And that's why we offer a free trial, right? It's a sense of if you're going to spend money on Facebook, do it wisely. Learn how to set up the ad. This funnel that we have is producing anywhere from 6 to 7 out of every 10 clicks become a contact. It's the highest click to contact ratio that we've seen for sellers on Facebook. So we're just helping you have a template that you can try. And if you're going to try it, might as well use it for free for a week to see if it fits you. And then we can talk about the integrations, the video, all that stuff to personalize it and make it yours. Because Brian, even for you guys as a team in Misti, the way I envision it is you want your team there from the very get-go. So it's if you could almost create a team concept video from the moment they submit their email, now you can pass that lead off to anybody in the team.
Yeah, and we assign those to specific people, but yeah, the reality is that the consumer doesn't care about that. So yeah, all of our stuff is pre-recorded. You know, we have value adds, and I know we're at the top of the hour, but we have 9 steps to being a for sale by owner. We have 101 things you want to do to home stage. I mean, we try and continually drip on those people that we're not getting with all that kind of. It's a little bit corny, but it really does add value instead of, you should work with me. This is why I'm great. No, this is just free content because, again, people like to do business with people they know, like, and trust, not people who sell stuff to them. So that works a lot of very well.
And yeah, again, I think that framing any communication you're having with your clients, whether it's a mail or whether it's an email, whether it's a phone call, remember that this is about and for them. This isn't about and for you. And as soon as you can get over that, because I see that all the time too. A lot of people with Facebook posts and with emails, a lot of it is, look at all my awards. Look how great I am. I've sold this many homes in this length of time. And again, I mean, is productivity important? Sure. You know, would I rather an agent that sold 100 houses last year than has never sold a home? Maybe, right? You know, but I just want a real person who has my best interest in mind. And the only way to convey that is, again, to make sure that your conversation is about them. The reason I'm calling you is because I have some questions for you so I can do a better job for you, right? So always consider to make sure that's your angle. You're there to serve.
Well, and remember, this levels the playing field. Jessica was only 3 months into real estate when she started with Streettext.
That's awesome.
No one knew that. No one knew that. And she did 12 deals in 11 months. So, you know, whether you're like a machine like Misti and Brian or Jessica, that moment they submit their information, they have no idea. And so it's all about the impression you make.
Absolutely.
Thanks, guys. That was awesome.
Appreciate y'all.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.